Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge etc. Jai Hind. Historical events of 6th May. The journey through time of 6th May 2025 Tuesday. Today's that is 6th May highlight in history. 1659. English Restoration. A faction of the British Army removes Richard Cromwell as Lord Protector of the Commonwealth and reinstalls the Rump Parliament. 1682. Louis XIV of France moves his court to the Palace of Versailles. 1757. Battle of Prague. The Prussian army fights an Austrian army in Prague during the Seven Years' War. 1757. The end of Konbaung, Hanthawaddy War and the end of Burmese Civil War 1740 to 1757. 1757. English poet Christopher Smart is admitted into St. Luke's Hospital for lunatics in London, beginning its 6-year confinement to mental asylums. 1782. Construction begins on the Grand Palace, the royal residence of the King of Siam in Bangkok, at the command of King Buddha Yodpa Chulalok. 1801. Captain Thomas Cochrane in the 14-gun HMS Speedy captures the 32-gun Spanish frigate El Gamo. 1835. James Gordon Bennett Sr. publishes the first issue of the York Herald. 1840. The penny black postage stamp becomes valid for use in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. 1857. The East India Company disbands the 34th Regiment of Bengal Native Infantry, whose sepoy Mangal Pandey had earlier revolted against the British in the lead-up to the War of Indian Independence. 1861. American Civil War. Arkansas secedes from the Union. 1863. American Civil War. The Battle of Chancellorsville ends with a major defeat of the Union's Army of the Potomac under Joseph Hooker by the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia under Robert E. Lee. 1877. Chief Crazy Horse of the Oglala Lakota surrenders to the United States troops in Nebraska. 1882. Thomas Henry Burke and Lord Frederick Cavendish are stabbed to death by Fenian assassins in Phoenix Park, Dublin. 1882. The United States Congress passes the Chinese Exclusion Act. 1889. The Eiffel Tower is officially opened to the public at the Universal Exposition in Paris. 1901. The first issue of Gorkhapatra, the oldest still running state-owned Nepali newspaper, was published. 1906. The Russian Constitution of 1906 is adopted on April 23rd by the Julian calendar. 1910. George V becomes King of Great Britain, Ireland and many overseas territories on the death of his father Edward VII. 1915. Babe Ruth, then a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox, hits his first major league home run. 1915. Imperial Trans-Antarctic Expedition, the SY Aurora broke loose from its anchorage during a gale, beginning a 312-day ordeal. 1916. 21 Lebanese nationalists are executed in Martyrs Square, Beirut by D. Jamal Pasha. 1916. Vietnamese Emperor Dai Tan is captured while calling upon the people to rise up against the French and is later deposed and exiled to Reunion Island. 1933. The Deutsche Studentenschaft attacked Magnus Hirschfeld's Institute for Sexual Wissenschaft, later burning many of its books. 1935 New Deal. Under the authority of the newly enacted Federal Emergency Relief Administration, President Franklin D. Roosevelt issued Executive Order 7034 to create the Works Progress Administration. 1937 Hindenburg disaster. The German Zeppelin Hindenburg catches fire and is destroyed within a minute while attempting to dock at Lakehurst, New Jersey. 36 people are killed. 1940 John Steinbeck is awarded the Pulitzer Prize for his novel The Grapes of Wrath. 1941 At California's Marshfield, Bob Hope performs his first US show. 1941 The first flight of the Republic P-47 Thunderbolt. 1942 World War II On Corregidor, the last American forces in the Philippines surrendered to the Japanese. 1945 World War II Axis Sally delivers her first propaganda broadcast to Allied troops. 1945 World War II The Prague Offensive, the last major battle of the Eastern Front, begins. 1949 EDSAC, the first practical electronic digital stored program computer runs its first operation. 1954 Roger Bannister becomes the first person to run the mile in under 4 minutes. 1960 More than 20 million viewers was the first televised royal wedding when Princess Margaret marries Anthony Armstrong Jones at Westminster Abbey. 1966 Myra Hindley and Ian Brady are sentenced to life imprisonment for the Moors murders in England. 1972 Deniz Gezmis, Yusuf Aslan and Hussein Inan are executed in Ankara after being convicted of attempting to overthrow the constitutional order. 1975 During a lull in fighting, 1 lakh Armenians gathered in Beirut for the 60th anniversary commemorations of the Armenian genocide. 1976 The 6.5 megawatt Friuli earthquake affected northern Italy with a maximum Mercalli intensity of 10 extreme, leaving 900 to 978 dead and 1700 to 2400 injured. 1983 The Hitler diaries are revealed as a hoax after being examined by new experts. 1984 103 Korean martyrs are canonized by Pope John Paul II in Seoul. 1988 All 36 passengers and crew were killed when Widerøe Flight 710 crashed into Mount Torghatten in Brunei. 1994 Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom and French President Francois Mitterrand officiate at the opening of the Channel Tunnel. 1996 The body of former CIA Director William Colby is found washed up on a riverbank in southern Maryland 8 days after he disappeared. 1997 The Bank of England is given independence from political control, the most significant change in the bank's 300-year history. 1998 Kerry Wood strikes out 20 Houston Astros to tie the major league record held by Roger Clemens. He threw a one-hitter and did not walk a batter in his fifth career start. 1998 Steve Jobs of Apple Inc. unveils the first iMac. 1999 The first elections to the devolved Scottish Parliament and Wales Assembly are held. 2001 During a trip to Syria, Pope John Paul II becomes the first pope to enter a mosque. 2002 Dutch politician Pim Fortuyn is assassinated following a radio interview at the Media Park in Hilversum. 2002, founding of SpaceX. 2004, the final episode of the television sitcom Friends was aired. 2010, in just 36 minutes, the Dow Jones average plunged nearly 1000 points in what is known as the 2010 flash crash. 2013, three women kidnapped and missing for more than a decade are found alive in Cleveland, Ohio, in the United States. 2023, the coronation of Charles III and Camilla as King and Queen of the United Kingdom and the other Commonwealth realms is held in Westminster Abbey, London. 2023, 8 people are killed and 7 injured in a mass shooting in Allen, Texas. The perpetrator is killed by a police officer. Thank you very much for your patience. Request for like, share and subscribe.